Hey! Yo! Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Superman, Batman, Night and Day. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, Superman, Batman, Night and Day is the latest in the Superman, Batman series, at least for which that has been collected into trade and hardcover. But with that said, this follows the same format as the previous volume, Finest Worlds, in that it does individual one-shot stories for Superman and Batman rather than an overall story arc. Now, I commented before with Finest Worlds that although it was a nice attempt at doing individual one-shot stories, it was far from good, and it was a lot better when the Superman-Batman series focused on larger, grander tales of Superman and Batman's adventures rather than these individual one-shot stories. That's not to say that individual one-shot stories don't work in comics. We've seen this done multiple times in the Batman series with Paul Dini, with his Detective, Death in the City, Private Casebook, and so on and so forth. Those were great individual one-shot stories that had classic scenes to them, and they even connected to each other here and there. However, the Superman-Batman series has not fared so well with the individual one-shot stories. So the question is this: does Night and Day actually perfect the formula of the individual one-shot stories for the Superman-Batman series, or will it just suck? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. Now, let's talk about the stories. There's several different stories in this, and the first story deals with Dr. Destiny. Now, if you don't know who Dr. Destiny is, he's one of those JLA villains that are kind of, on the crazier, loopier side. See, he's an enemy that can attack you in your dreams. And basically, he grabs Superman and Batman while they're dreaming and sends them to a world where basically the Justice League, Teen Titans, and Justice Society are all kind of mixed into one. For example, you'll get a combination of Hal Jordan and Dick Grayson as like Night Lantern or something like that. Or Beast Boy and Hawkman making Hawk Beast or something like that. Weird combination. And Batman and Superman need to figure out exactly what's going on. They don't know it's a dream right away, until Batman deduces it within like 5 pages that they are in a dream. However, because they're in a world where the heroes are mixed together, they're also in a world where the villains are mixed together. Joker and Luthor, Deathstroke the Terminator and Doomsday, Catwoman and Brainiac, which is kind of a weird combination. So they have to deal with those villains too, while at the same time trying to wake up. Do Batman and Superman figure a way out of this? And if they do figure a way out of this, do they come out unscathed? Well, that's the first story, and you're going to have to read and see it. One of the other stories is a story that deals with a alternate future simulation of what happens when Gorilla Grodd gains control of the world. And basically what happens is Gorilla Grodd releases kryptonite all over the place, and it makes it so Superman can't be around, and Batman's the only last person standing, and it's Batman versus Gorilla Grodd, and he has to call upon Superman for help. Alrighty then. That's basically the whole story. The thing is that there's a nice little ending to it that kind of makes everything make sense, but on a whole, it's just, that's it. There's no real story to it. It's just a simulation of what would happen if Gorilla Grodd took over. Okay, moving on. Then they had a Superman-Batman story that didn't even involve Superman and Batman. Yes, it's a Supergirl and Robin story. Now, this story actually started off pretty nicely, with Supergirl and Robin teaming up and going in to stop villains in Arkham. However, it kind of ended on a cheesy note with Supergirl teaching Robin a lesson that Robin already taught Supergirl. Okay, with that said, let's move on. There's another story in this that deals with the Scarecrow getting at Superman, Batman, Joker, and Lex Luthor and making them hallucinate their own nightmares. Yeah, okay. And then the last story is a Blackest Night tie-in. Ooh, you mean like a Superman-Batman Blackest Night tie-in? No. Instead, this is Man-Bat and Bizarro. It's a Man-Bat and Bizarro Blackest Night tie-in that deals with Solomon Grundy becoming a Black Lantern. Oh, God. Well, maybe I'm being a little too harsh on the story, because it was actually one of the more enjoyable ones in the volume. But it's really just Man-Bat and Bizarro working against Solomon Grundy, and at the same time, Man-Bat's wife trying to find a cure for him, a permanent cure. So that's basically all the stories in there. So let's get into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. The first story was definitely the strongest out of the story. The art was nice, the concept of the story was nice, and all the characters felt true to form. Well, I mean, other than the combination characters, but you really can't count for them because they're combination characters. It was a fun story. It kind of, what was most appealing to it was the art. The art really stood out to me. I really liked the art. The lighting, the colors that we used, very nice. I can't tell you how much I did like the art. This is the art that they should use for the Superman Batman series for a while, because it's such an appealing art. The story itself was okay. I felt as though it could have gone on a little bit longer, though, and it only lasted for about 2 issues. That's about it. The Supergirl and Robin story started off good, and it was nice to actually see the sidekicks work together. But it ended on a bad note. It wasn't really that good of an ending, and it only lasted for about an issue. Bad. Yes, we're already into the bad. All the stories, with the exception of the first one, have so many faults to them. Even the Supergirl Robin story. The Scarecrow story was just so boring, I actually skipped dialogue in that. That's how boring it was. It was just... The Blackest Night story just felt so random and out of place. I can understand these are villains of Batman and Superman, and that you're trying to do a story that incorporates them and Blackest Night, but it just seems silly and stupid. It really doesn't. It just feels so out of place. The alternate future one that has Gorilla Grodd taking over would seem kind of cool, but only if it was an Elseworld story that had more than an issue or two committed to it. It was rushed. It felt contrived. It felt so manipulated as a story. It didn't feel natural. I mean, it just didn't work. Whether or not you should get it. Well, it's pretty clear that the individual one-shot stories does not work for the Superman Batman series. This was not a good trade at all. Actually, if I had to say, this is probably the worst out of the Superman Batman trades that I've read so far. Yes, it has actually defeated Superman Batman Vengeance and Enemies Among Us as the worst Batman Superman trade. So let me take a second just to comment on the Superman Batman series. Because, see, the Superman Batman series started off fantastic, with grand tales and stuff that actually affected the DC Universe. Public Enemies, Supergirl, Absolute Power. You can even say stuff like Search for Kryptonite and Torment were important to the DC Universe and to the Superman Batman series. Great stories. But it feels as though they've just given up on the title. They just don't care. Now, I know they're up to like issue 76, 77 in the series right now, but what they need to do is they need to do a few things. One is they need to bring the title back and make it be grand like it was before. Have it be important to the DC Universe. And seeing that Bruce Wayne is kind of teetering on coming back, you can use him. Or you can use Dick Grayson. It's not blasphemous to have a Superman Batman comic and have the Batman at the time in it. Now, as much as I would like Bruce in it, he's not Batman at this very moment. We had a World's Finest trade that came out, which was all Superman and Batman team-ups with the extended families. Like, Supergirl would team up with Robin, Catwoman would team up with Supergirl, stuff like that. And eventually they had Kal-El from New Krypton, you know, Superman when he was part of New Krypton, team up with Dick Grayson as Batman. It worked. It was not a bad story. You could do a story like that in the Superman Batman series, having Dick Grayson there. It would work. Now, if you don't want to do Dick Grayson, you don't have to have the Superman Batman comics be in the current continuity. You can have it be set back in the earlier days of Superman and Batman. How about their first team-up? That's something that could be revamped or retconned. Or maybe some of their early adventures when Batman was Bruce Wayne, and you had the original Robin, Dick Grayson, in there, and kind of do some stories that you see in the World Finest trade, like the Showcase Presents World Finest Volume 1 and 2, which I will be reviewing sometime soon. It just feels as though that this was such a good comic that had such potential that just fell apart because DC stopped caring. DC, this is good. Use this title. Work with it. Because the crap that you're pulling off with this is just, well, is annoying to the fans like I, myself, who enjoy reading Batman and Superman teams up. So please, give this title a chance. please work with it. Try to fix it. But as it comes down to night and day, don't bother with it. It is bad. Horrible. Really not worth picking up. That said, this is Andrew saying, peace out for now.